Going live.
Hi Cricketeers, it's Laura Ann again. Happy Friday. I kind of feel like I'm at a news desk at the moment. I have my important papers and my pencils. Today, what we're going to be showing you is some designs from our Illuminated Letters Sketchbook. This was definitely one of our best sellers over Christmas, and this is actually even my copy. I love it. It's really, really good fun. It's actually amazingly relaxing to do all of these patterns, and it's not as difficult as you would think it is. I really only started doing this week, and I've spent a little bit of time doing it. It's really, really good fun. It's quite enjoyable. So we thought that this would actually be a really nice alternative to a Valentine's card, because I don't know about you, but most of the Valentine's cards that you get in shops are twee to the point of they're just too much. So I would say it would be a really nice thing if you could make your own card and you can put your Valentine's initial on it. So I have gone for Q. That's Q for Quirkity. Jenny of the buying team, I'm talking to you. From Jenny, who earlier said, Q, what's Q for? Well done, dear. It's Quirkity. So that's my example letter there. So this is one that I did earlier, just as a little example for you. This one I did with our metallic colouring pencils, and the other one I'm actually going to do with our neon colouring pencils, just to be a bit funky about it. So I've done the basic letter shape already, and what I will then do is I'm going to make this slightly more intricate. I'm going to do a pattern through it. It's going to look almost like the Celtic knots, but not quite as complicated. So let's get started. Ooh, it's like I'm on Art Attack. It's very exciting. So I'm going to find my letter. There's my letter Q. So you'll see in the book, you've always got your example up in this corner here, and then you've got, they kind of break it down for you so that you can see the easier ways to do it. So this is, it's going to be more like a layering exercise. So you've got things like this, so they do some of them in colour, so you've got an idea of it. I'm just using colouring pencils, but you know, obviously you can use coloured ink, you can use whatever you like, really. So, and they do, you've got little examples of embellishments in the corners. Obviously you've got loads of blank paper to practice, and I do recommend practicing before you actually try to do your final project. But you've got lots of really, really lovely things in this book, and you've got very simple instructions on how to actually structure and build all of these images. There we go. Let's get started. Come closer, come closer. So, the way that I have done my letter to begin with, I just drew a big cross in the middle of the page so that you've got an idea of the sizing and perspective and what should be where. The other thing that I would recommend you do is you use a really light pencil, because particularly if you're going to be colouring this in, you don't want all of these graphite stains. So draw lightly to begin with, particularly if you're doing any interlacing patterns, because there will be bits that you're going to have to rub out, and again you don't want it to end up looking really dark and messy on your page. So here we go. Apologies if this is awful. It should be fine. So first thing I'm going to do is just kind of sketch out this general pattern, because I want to know where I need to be drawing, how well you can see this. I want to know where I need to be sort of placing all of these loops. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm going to be doing this bit here. And it doesn't have to be super neat, because again you're probably going to be rubbing most of this out anyway when you're all done. got any queries or anything, do feel free to ping us a little note in the message section. Ben will read it out to me and I'll answer, should anyone ask. Guys, I hope you're all watching downstairs. Okay. I find the easiest way to do these interlacing patterns is to just do one line at a time. So you kind of do your outline first, and then you can fill the rest in and you can sort of flesh it out that bit more. And also don't worry if you're scrawling all over your page, because you're doing it in pencil. You can tidy it up and neaten it out later. I've actually lost my ability to multitask. I'm concentrating so hard I can't talk to you at the same time. Finally, my mother is, she'll be so thrilled she's found a way that I can actually be shut up.
Okay, so we've got a message here from Richard Large.
Hello, Richard.
He wants to know, does it show you how to link different letters?
It does. There is there's a monogram section towards the end of the book. And there's a couple of examples. So throughout the entire book, you've got all of the alphabet because it's letters. That would make sense. So you've got all the individual letter pages. You've got a section on doing any sort of intricate Celtic knots, that kind of pattern. And then towards the end of the book, see if I can find it, you've got this little monogram section. So it shows you how to link the two letters together using exactly the same patterns that you've already used earlier on in the book. I hope that answers your question, Richard. Now I've forgotten what I'm doing. There we go. I've remembered. Nobody panic. All is well. So I'm not going to do an entire huge pattern for you because I suspect that would be very boring to watch. So what we are going to do is kind of start finishing this off. You might find as you go along you actually get quicker at it. I found this relatively difficult to kind of plan out what I was doing to begin with. It kind of went all dyslexic and I was looking at it going, I can't see how everything links. But I think the easiest way to get around that is to just draw over your letter and then rub out the bits that you don't want to be there afterwards. So we want it to look like these sort of branches are actually going through the letter. So I'm just going to draw these little lines across it. And that's good. I think we're okay to start rubbing some bits out now. So because I want this bit to look like it's going behind, so one of the other ways that you can do this to make sure that it shows up really nicely is when you come to colour it in, your shading will actually be really quite important. no, you're going behind, so I'm going to draw in a little line here. Just reinforce that in there. Hopefully it's starting to at least look a little bit more three-dimensional. Let's get rid of that. So again, it's really important to use a light pencil because it will make things a lot easier. We've got this bit going behind now. So yeah, there we go. That should now look slightly more three-dimensional. And we've got a little bit of a tree pattern in there, which is actually quite pretty. I'm quite pleased with that, even if I did copy it out of a book. So then, as I say, one of the really good things you can do is actually start doing your shading in. These pencils are absolutely fantastic, particularly these neon ones. I've kind of fallen in love with them just a little bit today. They're just, you just get some really bright colours from them, which is absolutely gorgeous. So what I will do, we just kind of do little outline here. What is really interesting about this is it's incredibly relaxing, and also there's something really satisfying when you start to see it all take shape. Obviously I'm drawing these so they're quite large, so you can actually see what I'm doing. But, you know, they look lovely and intricate. I would suspect that, you know, the more practice that you have, the easier it will become to draw these much smaller. So yeah, basically what I want you to be able to see right now is I want it to start looking more three-dimensional for you, so you get more of an idea of what you want this to be looking like. Let's just change colour for our branches. Okay. Does anybody have any more questions at the moment?
No, no more questions.
Does Ben have a question at the moment?
I was just wondering if you ever went to art college.
No, not at all. I'm afraid this is pretty much the extent of my artistic abilities, is to copy something out of a book. But again, I think this is a really nice thing for someone who they like, you know, they feel quite creative, but they can't necessarily actually get what's in their head out onto the page. But you know, I think again this is one of those things that you're going to do, and then once you've practiced it for a bit, you will start coming up with the kind of ideas to do your own designs and things. So there are blank pages for you to, you know, go out and practice. There's also one of the good things about the book as well is it's all squared paper, so it's easier, particularly if it's a new thing for you and you're not entirely sure how the patterns should go. Using squared paper just makes it so much easier, because then you can line things up properly. It's almost like, does anybody remember drawing nets? Was it a net in maths when you had to draw like the flat layout of a box and things like that? It's kind of like that, but much more enjoyable because there's no maths involved, which is much more enjoyable for me because I hated maths. sure it's useful, but, you know, I haven't used algebra once since I left school. Rather would have been taught how to do an actual tax return or something like that. That would have been really helpful. Let's not get too political. Okay, just gonna go around here again. Just make our letter shape a bit more obvious. I will finish this off later and post another picture for you so you can see the finished masterpiece that is my Friday afternoon. It's really awful to have this job, you know. Have to draw things and spend your afternoon colouring in. It's dreadful. It really is. Absolutely awful. Please don't sack me. I quite like it here. Oh, there you go. So, as I say, I'll post up a finished article for you, but that's just a general idea of how it works and how it looks. So, yeah, give it a go. Why not? If you do any of these, please tweet us, or you can even Instagram us, because that's what we do now. We are down with the kids. We are on Instagram. And also, before I go, do not forget to enter our Facebook competition. It closes at noon on Tuesday, and to celebrate Bird Feeding Month, we are giving away the opportunity to win one of our teapot-shaped robin nesters. So it's a little nesting box. There is a copy of Birdtopia, which is a beautiful colouring book with loads of different birds, birds of paradise, all sorts. So, you know, if you like this kind of thing, you'll quite enjoy nice colouring books. And what else are we doing, Ben? There's two more things. They've gone completely out of my head. One is a memo block. So you've got, it's an A4 memo block with lots of different post-its and things. If you're anything like me, you're a bit obsessed with stationery. I love it. I'm kind of planning to get one for myself. And there's also a bird feeder. So give it a go. Happy Friday, everyone!